Afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This afternoon, we have Lauren Mobley and Myron Brown here from North Clayton Middle High School. They're going to be giving us a presentation on, see, I'm so actually really excited about this, honestly, on historical tools and using Galileo in order to produce a playlist. So thank you all for being here this afternoon. I'll let you guys take it away.
Hi, everyone. So, thank you again for having us. I am Lauren Mobley. I'm a school library media specialist at North Clayton Middle School, and I'm so excited to be here with my tag team partner. Uh,
Oh, and I'm Myron Brown. I'm the seventh grade social studies teacher here.
so, today we're look at me muting myself. Today we're going to be talking about how we were able to work together to create an awesome project where students use Galileo to research historical tunes.
All right, so how me and we came up with the assignment, I reached out to Miss Mobley about ideas for a Black History project, and I did not want the kids to do a project on the usual people like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. So I reached out to Miss Mobley and asked her how could we come up with a nice idea or a fun activity for the students to be able to create history and have fun with it. So me and Ms. Mobley, we worked together previously on two other assignments. One was the plagiarism, where we had to teach the students how to research because we do a lot of research in social studies. So we had a collab with teaching how to plagiarism. I mean, about learning about plagiarism and what not to do. And also, we did another collab on Paradat, and we introduced a lesson on government. I also feel like the students should have a good relationship with the librarian and also being used to being in the library and have that relationship because a lot of kids like to come in and check out books and just have that interaction with the librarian. So I think it was very important for us to be able to come in and collab with Miss Mobley, who always have the best ideas and more inventive ways of having fun.
And Mr. Brown is such a rock star teacher himself. I'm just so open and excited to work with teachers because a part of being a media specialist is trying to give students different skills so that they can become better citizens and learn, but without having that teacher relationship it's really impossible. So it's so important for librarians and teachers to be able to work together and do lessons together. So Mr. Brown, again, thank you for being such a good team player who's always willing to come to the library, bring your kids, and work with me on different things. I have some crazy ideas, and you're with the shenanigans. So thanks for that.
Yes, all the time, all the time.
So some of the target skills we wanted to do, we didn't really focus on standards, but more so skills. What things we wanted the students to walk away with. And the first one was creativity and collaboration. It's so important as students become 21st century learners that they think about how can they think outside of the box, how can they critically think, and how can they work with other people? Because in this world, just how me and Mr. Brown are collaborating and working together, nobody really works by themselves. You have to have that teamwork, whether it be asynchronous online or in person, but working with your peers and your colleagues is so important. So we were kind of able to model that by putting this lesson on for them, and they were able to take away those collaboration skills and those creativity skills after the lesson. We also really wanted to help them with their research skills. So you know what I'm talking about, teachers. So it's really important for students to be able to navigate the internet and find information. They love Google. Lord, they love Google. But we had to move beyond that into some substantial real databases like Galileo. So that was an awesome research resource that we were able to teach the students how to use, how to access it, how to find citations, how to justify their thinking, all through our teamwork and our project. The other target skill that we wanted them to walk away was walk, wanted the students to walk away with was using different digital tools. So throughout the presentation and at the end, we'll focus on some of those specifically, but we wanted the kids to be able to navigate different apps online that kind of showcase their creativity. So they'd have like almost their playlist or their portfolio of what they put together.
All right, and we did our overall view of the project, but just to let the students have a selective choices between making a playlist and creating an original song. So as you can see, we had students had to create a curated playlist or create an original song, and it had to include citations, learning how to cite where they get this where they got the information from. And we just thought that having the kids listen to so much music, and a lot of time having music around, and kids learn a lot from listening to music, that we could incorporate this into the daily lesson. And when we actually came up with this idea, and the kids they started getting into it, at first they had different things like what could they do, what part of history could they use, can they come up with their own lyrics. It was different things, like, so they became, their creative engine started twirling. And then all of a sudden kids, they started have come up with different labs and different sites where they was using different beats to actually come up like actual producers and producing beats for their songs. So we just thought that mixing in history and music together would be a fun way to get through Black History Month. Because at that time we was doing a Black History project, but it was incorporated from a lesson that we was already doing. So mixing in history and mixing in music together, it was a fun way and a very interactive way with the students to view this project as a whole.
So I'll talk about the first option. Again, we wanted to give the students a choice. So we didn't want to say, all right, this is what everybody's going to do. Everybody's going to create this. We gave them an option. They were able to create a playlist or write an original song. So with the creative playlist, students researched 5 different songs from African American performers in history. And they were given a different time period that they had to select the songs from. So before 1923, between 1924 and 1950, and between 1951 and 1999. We wanted to kind of keep it historical, so they didn't play something too recent. So we wanted them to kind of look in the past. While they were doing this, of course, kids love, 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 love music. So they're really engaged and like, oh my gosh, like this is what it used to sound like then. And Galileo being an amazing tool, they were able to hear the different music as they went through the project. So they were able to work on their writing skills, their research skills, and the time period breakdown. It's not exactly a distinct era, but we just wanted to give them some choice between kind of the vibes of the music. So that's why those time periods are kind of fluid, if you will. And they were choosing at least 5 songs between each of those. They also needed to include proper MLA citation for each song, which Galileo is an amazing tool, and we'll show you that at the end how to get the citation for each song. Here's an example of a student work. We gave them a template, which will also provide for you. We can go back to later to the first slide where you can scan the QR code, and maybe after Ms. Woodson can provide our notes from the presentation where you can have access to this slideshow. And most of these are interactive, and you can click and receive the links and the information for you to take home and share with your students at home. So on this first example, which is where they had to choose the 5 different songs, this is just one. It asked the students to include what year the song was written, the title of the song, the performer of the song, a direct link for the song, as well as the MLA citation, and their justification, like what made you pick this song, and why does this song represent Black history to you?
In option two, they had to actual find an original song. As you can see, we still had specific times dating back from before the 1900s. So we know a lot of different major events that was happening during before 1900, which was slavery, civil war, Reconstruction, etc. 1900, 1929, the Jim Crow, World War One, Harlem Renaissance movement that they had to choose from, or they could hear different people talking about. From 1930 to 1949, we have World War II and also the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement. 1950 to 1969, we had the boys boycott, Brown v. Board of Education, voting rights, all those different things that was happening in those time periods. So when the students was listening to those songs or choosing to pick, they can pick from a time frame, and sometimes in that time frame that you can hear the artist talking about things that are happening on specific events. So choosing that was a nice different flow because the kids actually heard like original drums and original guitar and different string instruments that was being used to help produce these songs. And you had a few jokes, you had a few laughs, because it was something different that kids wasn't used to hearing. Nowadays, they hear so much like auto tune and different things that are being played on the radio, where they was hearing some original sounds. It sounded a little foreign to them. And student two example, there was another example of picking these kids are actually now they're going to write their own verses, and this is honed into their writing skills and their research skills that goes along with the project. So this student, they came up and wrote their own verse and they had their own course, which was a lot of fun because now the creativity of them of making their own song and their own music come about. So you had a lot of kids who were trying to make words sound, they trying to make words rhyme instead of writing actual lyrics. So that was a fun assignment and a fun time having kids come up to me and Miss Mobley and saying, how did this sound? And then now they're trying to match their flow up with the beat. So it was a very fun assignment for the kids to actually show their music talents.
It was interesting too because we didn't even think that when we came up with this, we were like, okay, they can make lyrics, but they were like, oh, can I make my own beat? And it's like, yes, yes, you can. So then we
Yeah.
started, they found the resources and showed us some of the things where they make beats, and so that was awesome for them to have that creative ownership and that they were so invested in making this music that they wanted to branch out of the restraints we thought we had, and for them to be truly creative and invested in the process.
Yeah, we had to make sure that it wasn't using anyone else's lyrics. We had to let them inform about copyright and also plagiarism that goes along with it. Because some kids there was some they already heard. They were trying to use those. It's like, no, 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 you can't. You just gotta come up with your own. So having them critically think and actually use their own sayings for this was like it was a new adventure for them. So that was a lot of fun with that. And also when it came to them having their own cover page and their own design. And so a lot of kids they were trying to find these fine pictures. They was also drawing their own design because they wanted to make sure to match up with their basically their album cover. So that was their also choice that they had to have a cover um, to their assignment when they turned in. So just to make sure they have their own creative vibe too.
Right, and so the last piece was to create the cover, like Mr. Brown said, and we were able to use Canva for that, where we created a class on Canva and students joined, and they were able to design using all the elements and cool features within there to kind of showcase what are some elements from this music that we want to portray visually. So that was some visual literacy and them making those connections between the research that they had done and applying it to art. So I suggest when you do this lesson for your students to make it simple, to provide them with templates. There was a checklist that we wanted to go through when we were using the rubric and reviewing it. So by giving them a template, it was super easy for them to kind of follow the steps. Okay, well, this is blank, so I'm missing that part, or let me go back in and add this. So we provided them with templates for option A or option B within their instruction guide, which again, you'll have access to. We also made it so that students had forced copies. So we didn't make them have to go through and independently create a copy. If you do a forced copy and you can see a picture of what it looks like here, after you click the link, it will make you make a copy of this document. That way, the students are not editing what you've done, and two, they're not viewing it. Nobody's getting confused about how to make a copy. It's already done for them. It was also important for us to provide students with access to the instruction and rubrics for transparency. We wanted them to see exactly what we were requiring of them and exactly how they were going to be graded. So we went through the instructions, we went through the rubrics, and we provided that to them so that they could see how to do it. Lastly, another tip to make it simple for students is to, of course, model how to access Galileo. That's why I was really excited about this project, because not only were they doing, the cool music part, but they were learning the research tool, Galileo. So we showed them the instructions, the rubrics, and how to access Galileo. So that's what I'll show you now, how to walk through those steps on Galileo so that you can show your students how to do something similar. So we're
And
pretty grateful that our district has a single logon system where after the kids go into their portal, they can click the Galileo icon and then automatically they're in Galileo. So here on the homepage, you won't scroll down to the different databases. You'll just stay right at the top in the search engine and put African American music and press search or whatever you're looking for. This is the bento box search results, which takes different results and filters them by category. So there's databases, journals, scholarly articles, ebooks, news, magazines, all those different things, and they're sorted together into a collection, if you will. When we were doing the African American Music Project, we wanted the students to be able to hear and interact with the music. So we wanted them to select media. So after you get to your African American music results, you want to choose media, and that's what that little finger is clicking on like that. After you get to media, it's going to give you even more results. So here we want to filter this because it's provided us with 1,845 different results for this African American music. So we're going to use some different limiters so that we can limit what we have and it's not overwhelming to the students. This is a great tool because students can be overwhelmed by all this information or don't know what they're looking at. So when they apply the limiters, it really helps them narrow down their focus and gives them the focused results that they need for their project. And this is just a great skill to have because beyond them doing this African American music project, they would have research for other classes, other assignments with Mr. Brown, for example, and they can go through and say, oh, I got 2,000 results. Let me tweak this down into exactly what I need. Some of the limiters that you can access include the publication date. This is really helpful because the students needed to find music within different time periods. So they were able to enter those time periods and get the specific results that fell in that range. They were also able to narrow down the subject, the publisher, the language, and the collection or database that it came from. So after you select those limiters, you can see that I have a more filtered result. So here I put in the publication date of 1924 through 1950, and the subject I selected was songs, so that it gave me specific songs within that time period. It's interesting too because in Publisher there are all these different results, and we're in Georgia, and so many of them are from Georgia. So Fort Valley, Prairie, Ideal, Thomaston. We thought that was really interesting too, so that the kids could kind of see different regions that this music was coming from. So I went ahead and clicked on the Joe Lewis result at the top,
Must be is ever the story of
and
Joe
this is what it
Lewis's
sounded
blues.
like.
Let's get on singing. Joe left me fighting all over the state. Joe left me fighting all over the state. Find a man who can be mighty narrow escape. I'm going to talk about Joe a little bit now. Joe is about a friend of mine. Joe let my baby that's 205 pounds.
Okay, so you can see, but the kids were like, "What? What is
right, right.
that?"
It was a whole different, different vibe. They never heard of this before. Like, is this really music? Like, that's what we're really talking about. There was no auto-tune. There's no going back and editing. Like that was just raw for them. So a lot of kids, they just kept going through and listening to different of it. And that right there kind of opened up their imaginations and kind of like had them thinking like, man, like this is old. They always think we're old, and they was like, this is really old. So that was another good one. I enjoyed that one myself.
Yeah, they were like, just feeling like they're really experiencing the history. So not just something that they can see, but something that they can hear and connect with. It was interesting too because they would say, "Oh no, I don't want that song on my playlist," or "Oh, I want this song. I like this song." So that was really cool. And that link actually took us from Galileo into the Library of Congress. So there are different resources that Galileo has pulled, and depending on which song you pull or which resource you pull, it will take you to a different site. Some of them are embedded in Galileo, though. So this one, I wanted to show you what else was available. So not only could you hear the music, but you could see the title, you could see the names of people who were involved with its creation, you could see where it was created, and some headings that had different genres. And also, students love that Galileo provides the citations for them to cite the information. We tell them that, it gives you the citation, but you probably want to review this using Purdue OWL or another site just to confirm that their citation is following the correct guidelines. It also gave them some suggestions for more items that were similar to the one that they had just listened to. So some digital tools that the students used when they were creating this project was Wakelet. We started with Wakelet because it's similar to Padlet in the idea that you curate a list of resources for your audience. And so we took Wakelet, and if you scan the link, you can have access to the Wakelet that we created. And on this Wakelet, it has different list where the students were kind of able to go through and see, okay, here's the link to the instructions, here's the link to the template, excuse me, here's the link to Canva, and everything was on this one Wakelet. So they didn't have to navigate to different sites. They could access it straight from Wakelet. The other digital tool that they accessed was Google Docs. And so in Google Docs, we started with the instruction sheet, and we gave students access to the template and the different resources there. Okay, so I'm gonna have 5 minutes left, so let me hurry up.
And the next one, other digital school, we had Canva. Canva, the kids, they definitely love to use Canva because, again, it helped a lot of creativity and they get to design a lot of their background covers or their title. And BandLab, you have to create that was when you had to create your actual, like use your email and create an actual a login for it. But that also was some of the kids was using to come up with very creative beats. So they didn't use the original beats from Galileo. They used the creative beats from BandLab, and BandLab actually gave them more of a hip hop way of producing beats. So a lot of kids, they started venturing to the BandLab, but they're also using Galileo as well. So the BandLab is something more hip hop for the kids, and they actually enjoyed it. The music and the history had a little, as the kid would say, a little flavor to it. So it was those are some of the digital tools that we used for this project, and I think it was a good success. It was very successful.
It was. I think the kids had a lot of fun. They were definitely engaged in. They were like, we taught you. You had fun, but you was learning. Gotcha.
Right. Right.
So before we go to any questions that you may have, Kirsten, okay, so Kirsten Drake says, I'm embarrassed to admit I've never used Galileo for music. I love this. Thank you so much, Kirsten. We're glad we were able to share with you, and we hope that you're able to do something with your educators and students at your school. Joyce said, love Canva. Yes, yes, yes. Obsessed with Canva. Obsessed with Canva.
I'm new
Are
to
there
I
any
use
questions?
Canva, but I don't use it as much as I should. But the kids love to use Canva when we're doing presentations, so I'm on their side with it.
Gotta get on the Canva train. Are there any questions? If not, we will. If maybe you have a question later, we just want to say thank you. And please contact us if you do have questions later. Again, I'm Lauren Mobley. You can find me on social at Mobley in the Mix. I'm a school librarian in middle school and love helping educators with their educational technology.
So does Miss Sheila Bell have a? She's typing.
The
So she
question?
might. Yeah, she's typing.
You
So
might
you
be
might have
typing.
a question.
Thank you. You're awesome. Oh, here it is. How much time did the students have to complete the assignment?
We
Ooh,
took 2 or 3 class periods.
yeah, yeah. We worked over time. Because a lot of time the time was going so fast, and a lot of kids they was changing. So oh, I want to use this, and then want to use that, and then so it took us 2 to 3 class periods to get it done.
They would go down a rabbit hole too, like just listening to the music. I'm like, okay, don't forget, you're supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. Then they wanted to switch from not doing the lyrics to doing the song because the song now is more it's fun for them. But the lyrics, it was a little, it was just going back and forth which one they wanted to do. And then sometimes the group member didn't show up. So, oh, this man, I want to do another one. Can I get with this group because they want us to be with them? And so it was a lot of that going. But 2 to 3 class periods.
Thank you for that question, Sheila.
Yeah, thank you, Sheila, for that question. And Myron, were you gonna say an outro for yourself?
Oh, no outro, no outro. I'm gonna save it for next time.
Okay, okay. Well,
I didn't get a chance to grab it.
okay. Well, I want to thank both of you all for this presentation of like one of the coolest ways that I've seen Galileo being used. So I'm so glad that you all were able to share it. So if there are no other questions, thank you all for being here this afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.